Hello, 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 friends. This is Karan, and I think this is week 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and this morning I did here. So this is week 7 that we are on our wellness journey. Okay, so first foremost, the numbers. Everybody wants to know the numbers. I want to know the numbers. My number this morning when I stepped on the scale is 186.8. Whew. Okay, so that from the place that we started to today, it's 7.2 pounds. Yeah, 7.6 pounds, I think is what it is. 7.6 pounds is what where I'm at. Total loss for from starting at 194.2. Now, from last week, which I did not post a video last week. I don't know why I didn't post a video last week, but I didn't. So this week, it is only like a pound lost from last week to this week. And I'm going to have to also start doing some during the week updates. That way, um, take some snapshots of what I'm eating, what I have eaten. That way we can see the whole picture, because somewhere along the line the weight, the loss isn't kind of matching up, if that makes sense. My dosage level now is to 0.5 milligrams. So this is my second week of doing 0.5 milligrams of the medication. And let me tell you a little bit about some of the effects of what's going on that I'm noticing. So this week, there were a couple of days that I had some upset stomach, some stomach issues going on, which is a side effect. I'm not sleeping, so my sleep is off again. So I'm gonna have to look at my sleep issues. So I don't know if that's relating. So now it's sleep, stomach issues, and it's not every day that I had stomach. It was just 1 or 2 days. I had a slight feeling of nausea, wanting to throw up. And I hadn't eaten anything, so it's not like I overate or anything like that. So could be that I'm, like I said, going through some of the motions. These are some of the side effects, and this is why we go through these phases or these dosage to test and see where what level dosage level has more impact or will have an impact on what my ultimate goal. So there's that. The number then is 186.8 is where we are starting from today. So my goal this week, here are my goals. I'm going to tell you what my goals are, because they say one of the things we should do is put your goals out there and hold yourself accountable. So my first goal is a 2 pound weight loss this week. So my number this week, I'm starting at 186.8. I should be no less than 184.8. Anything more than 2 pounds is fine, but my goal is to do a 2 pound loss this over the course of this week. That's one. Um, strength working out. I have worked out. I walk. Walking is my cardio. And I do 35 minutes at lunch every day, or 5 days a week. And then on Saturdays, I try to do anywhere between 4 to 6 miles. I am going to keep that up. So it is going to, as far as or cardio is concerned, I'm going to do 5 days, minimum 35 minutes per day of walking, and then on Saturday, minimum of 4 to 5 miles. Yesterday I did 5.5, so anywhere between 4 and 6 miles is my Saturday. Normally, I do nothing on Sunday. Is my rest and recovery day, but I'm going to have to put something into my regime on Sunday. So I think and I'm going to add a day 7, and day 7 is going to be maybe about a mile and a half, no more than 2, at a very nice leisurely pace, just to get the heart rate up just a little bit, and to get the steps going. So that's my cardio goals for the week. My strength training, I started doing wall push-ups. My goal is to do 100 per day. It doesn't seem to be very realistic because when I'm looking at it, I've done anywhere between 50 and 75. So that seems to be what's attainable to me, and achievable as a goal. So my goal is for every day to do minimum 75 push-ups, wall push-ups, every single day. Okay, it's not hard to do. I do them in 25 in sets of 25. So I just need to do 3 sets of 25 wall push-ups. Okay, so that's that. The other goal that I do need to, what I'm noticing for me is, and I've said it before, is my eating is going to be the hardest challenge for me. And I'm struggling with eating. And here's what's been happening. One, I'm not I'm not the type of eater that I eat on a schedule. I eat when my body says I'm hungry. And so with the medication shutting off the brain noises, it fires at me at weird times of the day. So I'm making a point to eat my first meal, not including coffee that I have in the morning. My first meal of the day generally is at 10:30 in the morning. Why do I do that at 10:30? Is I have my another medication that I have to take that must be taken in the morning, and I have to do it with food. So I tend to do my first meal of the day at um at 10:30. Here's what I'm noticing, or what I have noticed with continuing with that process now that I'm on this medication. So what I've noticed is that once I do that, that meal is like a yogurt. Sometimes I'll have like a breakfast taco, but mainly it's yogurt, or a protein shake that I do at 10:30. So what I notice with that is when I do that, that completely shuts off the food noise for me pretty much for the day, right? So I'm not hungry again until 2, 3 o'clock in the day. And that's when I'm starting to eat lunch, is about 2:30, 3 o'clock that day, right? So what I've noticed is that now I've got to make sure, especially if I'm going to do a shake, right? Which is what I probably need to default to, is doing like my a protein shake. Is I need to do that before I leave my house in the morning. So that will alter when I take my medication, right? So I'm going to do that. I'm gonna transition to earlier than the 10:30 and do that. And I leave my house generally for work by 7:45 ish. So by then I have to have done my breakfast shake or my yogurt if that's what I'm gonna do. My shake is I do Fairlight Core Elite Vanilla for flavors, and that's 42 grams of protein. And I do mix I put a banana in it for potassium, extra potassium that I would need. Blend that up with some ice, and that is my breakfast in the morning. So now that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to try to do that in the morning before I leave, before I even have my coffee. So my cold is done. And then when I get to work, I can have my coffee. So that takes care of the morning, which would mean that generally by 1:30-ish, 1:30, I should be ready to eat my second meal of the day. So I do walk, like I said, 35 minutes at lunch. And I have my watch, and I'm a Samsung girl, so I do the Samsung um, fitness challenges and the Samsung health options. And I set my goal for the day is 35 minutes. And so halfway out, which is about 17 and a half minutes, it says you're at the halfway mark. I stop wherever I happen to be. I turn around and I finish out my 35 minutes. So that's how I make sure that I do 35 minutes every day. It's all app driven and making sure that I keep to that timeline. What I do now is I have generally a salad, um, I've discovered Sweet Green. I love their salads now, and they're so big that I can do Sweet Green and have half of it for lunch and half of it for dinner, which is good because then I'm assured that I'm eating healthy because it's a salad that I'm eating, and then the other half at lunch. So, or for dinner. So that's what I'm doing. I will also have, I've done my pre-portioned meals. Like I've done I've frozen some rice in half cup portions. I've done some meatloaf in portions as well, and I just put those out, put those on a plate, and everything is already portioned. And I will then have a meal with some vegetables or a salad or something like that. The other thing that I've implemented in the last week, or in the last week, is generally when I come home from work, which is about 6 o'clock, I generally have to pop right straight into some sort of a Zoom meeting for one of the organizations that I'm a part of. Shout out to Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated, or any one of the other meetings that I participate in. So, and sometimes those meetings go for an hour, 2 hours, 2 hours. So when I'm getting out of those meetings at 9 o'clock, this is kind of one when my brain starts to signal, hey, you're ready to eat again at 9 o'clock at night. And then, or two, is when it says, oh, you have to eat now, you're hungry, right? So the brain starts to signal that I'm hungry, and then it's time to eat dinner. Well, we all know that you should not have a meal at 9 o'clock at night, and then the next thing I'm going to go do is go to bed, right? So the thing that I put into place is that if I have not eaten a solid meal, meaning something solid, I will then supplement my dinner meal with some fruit and or another shake in the evening. So it'll be a shake in the morning and a shake in the evening if I do not eat by 8 o'clock at night. That's happened several times, and I was relatively able to keep to that schedule, which is a good thing. So that's when those are my goals for the week, is to ensure that my eating, one, I'm going to start taking pictures of what the meals are that I eat. That way you can see and I can see and we can keep track. And then not eating after 8 p.m., pre-pour packaging my food. And then if I do a salad at lunch, one of the sweet green salads, then it's half for lunch and half for dinner. So those are my goals as it pertains to eating. I think that's all the goals that I need to have. I got the nutrition. Oh, sleeping. I think, okay, so I have been going to bed like immediately after I've eaten. So somewhere between 9 and 10:30. That's when I go into the bedroom for sleep. Do I always fall asleep immediately? Absolutely not. Generally, sometimes I'm watching the clock, it's watching me at about midnight ish. So I got about 3 hours between when I go into the bedroom, somewhere between 2 and 3 hours, and generally when I fall asleep. So I am generally working on about 4 to 5 hours of sleep because I get up at about 4:30, 5 o'clock. So I'm generally working at about 4 to 5 hours of sleep. So this week I'm going to work on increasing my sleep time to minimum. I'm going to try to work on getting at least 6 hours of sleep because they say it all works hand in hand. Sleep, exercise, and eating. So I'm working on this. I'm going to work on all three to see if I can come to some balance in there. The other thing, and I need to jump back a little bit, is I did notice that this week my water intake was not as much as previous weeks. So I have to work on my water intake. I did have what I called an excessive craving for sugar, and that's for me like Coca-Cola and stuff like that. And I did have a lot of soft drinks this last week, which probably accounts for the 1 pound weight versus two or more, is because the number of soft drinks, sugary soft drinks that I had in my diet or in my meal this week increased exponentially. Normally, I drink water only during the week. Water only during the week. And then on the weekends, which is when I allow myself a Coke or two, one or two a day, is what I allow myself on the weekends only. Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Um, so I need to get back to just water during the week, and then just weekends only is in just sodas. Couple things that's happening this particular week that might throw me out of whack, but I do need to be mindful because I am aware of that. I am traveling on Thursday. I'm flying. So that means a couple of things. I will probably need to normally my cheat meals on my from my flights is I'll have like a bag of M&Ms or a bag of gummies and a bag of grapes. Those are my pick foods, and some Cheetos. Those are my flight foods. So I'm going to have to do better at pre-planning what my travel foods are so that I don't, fall back on the Cheetos and the M&Ms or the gummy bears as my pick food. So definitely going to keep the grapes. I might pre-cut some apple slices, things of that nature. So I have that as munchies on the plane instead of the candy and the chips. We'll see how that works out. I am flying home. I'm from the Virgin Islands, St. Thomas to be exact. So I will be home. And let me tell you, when I get home, I look forward to eating those foods that my mama cooks, that I get from the islands. And it ain't always the most healthiest of foods. So I am going to have to try. So even though my goal is 2 pounds this week, I am hoping that I can sustain that because I will be home and I will be able to eat things that I just don't make being in the US that I get when I get home to my mom. And my mom she calls me fat, but she fattens me up when I come home because she lets me eat whatever she cooks, that kind of stuff. She's always like, what do you want to eat? Okay. So anyway, that's what that is all about. I think that's all the updates that I have. Again, my goal is a 2-pound weight loss by the time I report to you next week. And guys, I haven't done a show, but my friends. So my biggest area of concern is my abdomen, right? And I haven't done I got no butt, so don't even look at that, guys, right? But this right here is my problem area. And I'm telling you, even though the scale per se is not giving me big numbers, clothing that used to fit me a little snug is no longer as snug as it did before. So I am definitely losing inches. Maybe not the numbers, but I am losing inches. So I am looking forward to bringing the tape measure out so you can see the next time. And I'm not even holding this in, guys. This is my stomach, right? It was bigger. And so for me, let me put that down. You're not trying to see my boobs or nothing. So so I'm hoping that I can get where this is all in here and snug like that, but it's not there yet. We are working on it, and I do feel the difference in my clothing. So even though the numbers might not be showing what I think it should show, the other the way of measuring is giving me results as well. So that's all I got for you this week. Again, it was a 1 pound weight loss this month, or this week, not this month. A total of 7.8, I think. Whatever it is I said in the beginning, it's at least a 7-pound loss since I started the Ozempic journey 7 weeks ago. Stay tuned, guys. I'll see you back here next week. Bye-bye.